Greetings and welcome to Caribbean Vanguard. Welcome to Caribbean Vanguard. So today I'm going to talk a bit about the Windrush situation in the UK that involve immigrants from the Caribbean mostly. I'm going to read an article. Actually, it's a compilation of a few articles that I put together that covers what's happening with this Windrush. And I also have an opinion on this. Before I get into the article, anytime there's an incident and the police get involved, a few things always happen. They want to know how it happened, why it happened, and what can we do to prevent it from happening. That is always the procedures. That is the normal protocol. But for some reason, it seems like we don't do that. This seems to be something that we refuse to do for whatever reason, right? Things keep happening to us over and over and over again, and instead of us taking measures like other groups do, anytime there's a trauma, anytime there's a situation that impacts a group of people, it usually pulls them together, and they make sure that they have the blade, they have the handle. They make sure that they have the handle next time so that they are not placed in a position to be violated again. They make sure that their youths are not put in a situation for them to be violated like their ancestors did. But for whatever reason, with us, we seem to run further or try to get closer to those who done the harm to us, unless it's us doing it to ourselves. We get closer to them, and we ensure that they continue holding the handle. And we keep holding the blade, and then we live on hope that it would never happen to our children again, which is not a good strategy. So let us get into this article. 22nd June marked the 75th anniversary of the arrival of over 1,000 passengers of the Empire Windrush to the UK. The Windrush Generation refers to the thousands of people who migrated to the UK from the Caribbean between 1948 and 1971 in response to a call for workers to help rebuild Britain after World War II. Windrush Day 2023 was marked by a series of events across the UK, including a concert at the Royal Albert Hall featuring Caribbean music, a Windrush photography exhibition, and a series of exhibition talks at museums and cultural institutions. The Windrush flag was also raised at the civic offices in Epping to commemorate the day. Patrick Vernon started the petition. The gentleman that you see in the image here is Patrick Vernon, and he initiated the petition to give Windrush Generation citizens amnesty and forced the government to apologize to them. I'm not sure if forced is the appropriate word, but then again, I would go along with it, because when people want to appeal to the world as if they are so sincere and so righteous, and you call them out, shine the spotlight on them, they are placed in a position where they basically the best thing for them to do is to apologize. Commonwealth citizens who had been living in the UK legally for decades were told that they did not have the paperwork to prove they had a right in the country, which led to some being detained, deported, or denied national health services. It also led to many losing their jobs or state benefits. These are images of Patrick Vernon that you see here. And I applaud him, and we should give him his flowers while he's still alive, because that is a good thing for him to take the initiative and to go out there and to do something like this, because a lot of times people don't support you until they realize you have some momentum going, and that's something our people do a whole lot. We don't get behind each other until we start seeing that they are making some progress, right? There is a man by the name of Enoch Powell, and he gave a speech to a group of conservatives in the UK, and that speech was called the Rivers of Blood speech. and many point to that speech as the leading cause for what happened to the people of the Windrush Empire. Enoch Powell's River of Blood speech led to dozens of anti-immigration laws across different governments. On April 20, 1968, Enoch Powell, a leading member of the Conservative Party in the British Parliament, made a speech that would imprint itself into British memory. Speaking before a group of conservative activists, Powell said that if immigration to Britain from former colonies continued, a violent clash between white and black communities was inevitable. As I look ahead, Powell said, I am filled with foreboding, or filled with fear. Like the Romans, I seem to see the river Tiber firming with much blood, an allusion to a line in Virgil's Aeneid. He maintained that it would not be enough to close Britain's borders. Some of the immigrants already settled in the country would need to be sent home. If not, he declared, in 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have a whip hand over the white man. And when he talked about the river of Tiber flowing with blood, he was referring to a war between Constantine and Maxentius, where Maxentius' army was destroyed at the river of Tiber. There are claims of the Windrush compensation scheme being flooded with ineligible claims due to a campaign group issuing misinformation about who can apply, therefore hampering the efforts to pay out millions to those affected by the scandal in which British citizens were wrongly classed as illegal immigrants. Events held in cities across England, social media adverts and videos posted online told thousands of people that descendants of victims of the slave trade and migrants from Commonwealth were automatically eligible for payouts from the Home Office's Windrush scheme. The petition for Windrush compensation was initiated in 2019 to recompense individuals who suffered losses after being wrongly classified as illegal immigrants, followed the government's hostile environment policies that was introduced from 2012 onwards, which became known as the Windrush scandal. Events and adverts, meaning advertisements, issuing false information about the eligibility criteria for compensation scheme were launched in November last year by an organization called Black Child Agenda, a campaign and advocacy group that supports children and families who face racial discrimination. In November, the Black Child Agenda and Cheryl Phoenix, the group's chief executive, arranged events attended by audience of up to 1,500 in cities and towns including London, Birmingham, Bristol, Manchester, Leeds, Leicester, and Croydon. Phoenix boasted that she could have attracted audiences of more than 5,000 due to the demand in hearing her talk. One of the articles I was reading said that speakers told those attending inaccurate information about the Windrush compensation scheme. At one event, the speaker told the audience, if you enter the UK before the 1st of January 1973 from a British Commonwealth nation, you are eligible automatically. Attendees were also told that they could receive compensation if they were a child, grandchild, sibling, cousin, or partner of a Windrush Generation migrant. In the 6 months since the first events and adverts were launched, this is talking about the false advertisement, 1,565 people applied for compensation, more than double the 738 applicants received in the same period the previous year. The number who have applied since the misinformation campaign was launched in November accounts for a quarter of all 6,122 claims that have made to the scheme since it was set up in April 2019. Both the number and the rate of people claiming who were found to be ineligible have soared. and a total of 881 ineligible claims were received in 6 months after the misinformation campaign, representing 56% of all claims. This compared with 318 the previous year, which was 43%. Adverts and videos were posted on social media platforms such as TikTok and YouTube, claiming that applicants can be paid up to $100,000 within 6 weeks. They also claimed that the government was proactively dissuading people to apply, telling TikTok viewers, "Please don't be put off by what you see on government website." The government website has deliberately been designed in a particular way to put you off so you don't feel like you fulfill the criteria. By the end of April, a total of £61.26 million had been paid out to more than 1,600 claimants under the Windrush compensation scheme, an average of £38,000 each. A further £11.3 million has been offered, awaiting acceptance or pending an appeal. The surge in claims over the past 6 months has pushed up the rate of outstanding applicants, with 40% of the 6,122 total number of claims yet to have received a final decision. However, the Home Office, which is responsible for immigration security as well as law and order, has managed to prevent a blockage by beefing up the team that are processing Windrush claims by diverting an extra 20 officials from elsewhere in the department. It has also redesigned the forms to make it easier and simpler for people to fill out, as well as making it clear who is eligible for compensation and who are not. Steps taken to speed up the claim process has reduced the average time it takes to determine eligibility from 18 to 5 months. By the end of April, there were 162 victims of the Windrush scandal, waiting more than 18 months for a payout. People are eligible for compensation if they came to the UK from a Commonwealth country before 1973 or had parents or grandparents who came, or they can show that they suffered impact on their life due to the Windrush scandal. This can range from being deported, detained, or threatened with deportation or detention, to those who lost their job, state benefits, legal fees, or being denied access to health care because they lacked the document to prove their British status. The compensation program is separate to the wider Windrush scheme, which was launched in 2018 to ensure members of the Windrush Generation could get the documentation they need to prove their right to be in the UK free of charge. More than 16,200 people have been issued documentation confirming their legal status or British citizenship. Many people will be eligible for the Windrush scheme, but not for compensation because they did not suffer losses due to their lack of documentation. A Home Office spokesperson said, "It is vital that people who may be eligible for the scheme are aware of it, have access to the correct information, and can apply. We are working hard through outreach events to raise awareness for the schemes as well as to address misunderstandings about what the scheme covers. Since 2018, we have hosted events, held one-to-one surgeries, and worked with grassroots community organizations, reaching over 865,000 individuals through our Windrush Community Fund alone." All right, it is good that Patrick Vernon took the bull by the horn and decided to make this happen for those people. And I give this guy roses. We should applaud him for that. Great. Awesome. But we have to take it a bit further. It seems like when we didn't have an option, that's when we put things together. Unless there's a real traumatic event that drives us or forces us to work together and to protect ourselves for the youths of tomorrow, it seems like it's not going to happen. But I know that there are a few people out there who get it and who understand, but Many times they feel like they're alone because so many of us are so open and just so willy-nilly with everything, so loose with our behavior, loose with our relationship, loose with our culture, not realizing that we are putting our youths at risk. And we should take measures to protect them, to build a cocoon around them so that they can control themselves a bit more, so that they're not living off of hope, so that people are not treating them good because they're sorry for them, right? We like people to treat them good because, for one, they're humans, and for two, they respect them because of their strength. People respect numbers. If you realize, for Patrick Vernon to even get things off its feet, it needed signatures. It needed a group of people to come together. So we should not dissolve ourselves and make ourselves individuals, because you never know when you're going to need those numbers again. The situation that we face as a group, that is unique to us as a group. So even though we join in hands with people and working with people, it doesn't mean that we should dissolve our roots, dissolve our ancestry, and forget who we are. Right? Because you're going to be reminded of who you are when you try to run away from it. So the best thing that we can do is embrace it. And that way, we'll always be ready. All right? So that's all I have. Until next time, be blessed.